Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Today we have ourselves an undead matchup. We have the Vampire Coast versus the Vampire Counts. And on the Vampire Coast side, we have Dacder leading the way with this Gallows Giant and Count Noctilus. On the Count's side, we have Macbeth leading the forces of the undead. Now, for the army of the Vampire Coast, we have some deck hand mobs here of mix of the regular unit and the pole arms, kind of in the front line as the chaff, as well as we have some bomber units, very good against the chaff of the Counts, as well as 4 units of handgunners. We have a couple units of the pirate gunnery mobs, maybe just one of them in the back there. Some more pole arms kind of protecting the rear against any cavalry charges or some doggos coming in. And Noctilus with Captain's Wrath, Moondial, Wraith Storm, Invocation of Nahek, and the Vampire Coast's own Raised Dead. And we have a couple units of Sirens as well. Some good ethereal units against the Vampire Counts, who usually lack a bit in the magic department. And for the Vampire Counts themselves, we have Vlad von Karstein leading the way with Invocation, Dance Macabre, Raised Dead, and of course we have the von Karstein Ring and the Blood Drinker giving him a nice regen. And we have a couple, he's flanked by 2 Banshees as well. It's kind of their base unit. We have a line of Skeleton Warriors and Spearmen. We have a couple Crypt Ghouls, good for chewing through the infantry, the chaff units of the Vampire Coast. We have some Graveguard with great weapons. We have the Stersman, very good long-lasting unit. Graveguard very good against any crabs that they might find. A couple corpse carts. We have the Unholy Lodestone and the Balefire. Balefire will be really good if he can get within range of Noctilus, kind of shut down his magic regen. We have some bats in the sky, kind of shut down any of the guns that might be pointed the way of the ammoless Counts. And we have a couple doggos kind of off on the far flanks, trying to get into the back lines. So let's get this show on the way as the Counts advance, as they stare down the barrel of the Gallows Giant. So no long-range artillery for the Vampire Coast, though the handguns are opening up into the Fellbats. Not really a whole lot of other good units in range right now. Just kind of keep them honest, keep them away, do as much damage as they can. Well, it looks like Vlad is getting a little ahead of himself here, as now the Gallows Giant has taken aim and is shooting him right point blank, not really taking a whole lot of damage. But if we had both of these pirate gunnery mobs point in on him, that's going to be doing some decent damage. I don't think he really should be this far ahead right now. He really should be staying within the confines of his own army, but he is taking a lot of fire, kind of making sure everything else is kind of advancing unimpeded. Now we got the Fellbats diving down onto the guns right now. So now we have actually 4 units have all been silenced for the time being. Only one of them is really active, but the bombers are now firing in to the undead, doing very, very good damage. Kind of almost taking down the Skeleton Spearman to half health. Looks like a Wraith Storm coming in on these 2 Banshees. Not doing really that much damage despite the magic damage of Wraith Storm. Noctilus is still staying back. I don't think he really wants to get involved with this goon squad right here. The Unholy Lodestone is over here. He also kind of wants to avoid the Balefire if he is able to notice that. Though it looks like the Fellbats are now kind of slowly dying off, as well as some of the direwolves have gotten in, but the Sirens have kind of shut them down. So those dogs are going to be crumbling away as well. Now the Banshees have gotten onto the heels of the Gallows Giant. Now that the Sirens are in, kind of peeling them off, that Gallows Giant should be backing up a little bit, getting some nice juicy shots right here into this line of Sternsman. He'd be doing some very good damage if he is able to kind of get clear of that. Also, these zombies should be able to do very well, kind of protecting the Gallows Giant. That Gallows Giant really needs to get back. He needs to be firing. He can't be in that sustained front combat right now. Dogs once more trying to shut down the bombs. Doing not as much job as they want. I think with the guards, those bombs are going to be on guard mode, allowing them to continue to fire as these handguns are now just cleaning them up. Though the bombers are at critical damage to something, and now they are crumbling. So at least maybe they'll be able to get those bombers off the field. So if they are able to do that, those bats will have paid for themselves. A summon of zombies coming down, shutting down another unit. And still, though, this Gallows Giant is just stuck in combat with the Banshee. I mean, yes, it is getting some damage with the Banshee, but that Gallows Giant really needs to start clearing out the chaff of the Vampire Counts. The Counts were able to just kind of engage the front line of the coast unimpeded, and now that they've completely eliminated all of the chaff units, they're just going to be able to push right into all of the gun lines of the Vampire Coast, and that's really what they're going to be wanting me doing here. Another Ray Storm coming down, getting in, trying to do some damage to this one unit of Banshees. Again, not really doing all that much, if at all. This Banshee has been healed up from an invocation from Vlad. These gunnery mobs right here are firing into the Balefire, trying to get damage down on that. But still, the biggest crux so far that I can see, now the Gallows Giant is finally, is still engaged. And though if he's able to get fire on the Sternsman, that'll be very good with their regen and being undead. That's just going to do very good. But he finally is getting some good longer range shots. I think he's targeting that corpse cart there. And now one unit of Doggos is shutting down this gunnery mob completely, very quick. Now they'll probably continue right into the handguns, though Noctis is trying to keep that from happening, as well as this pole arms unit is now rotating around to keep that shot. A summon coming down, shutting down this gunnery mob, though that is a summon. I feel like they would have been a little bit better if they can kind of get them back here, so they put pressure on this far handguns on both sides. Though now the Necrofex Colossus is firing, and it looks like it is going to be taking out that Balefire. Invocation coming down, trying to keep this Balefire up and running, giving that bonus to melee and melee defense. Now that Gallows Giant is able to kind of pull away a little bit, turning and fire on these Sternsmen, I think would be what it wants to do. It looks like it's going to be doing that right here, or it's going to be firing and trying to finish off this Balefire. We'll see what it does, but the Sternsmen are hot on its heels, trying to keep it preoccupied. Though they'll be taking some very decent damage. It looks like those shots are kind of not quite hitting the mark as much as the coast would like, but the balance power is still quite even. Now this far left flank of the Counts has kind of dissipated as they've tried to push in to these two units of handguns. Well, it looks like these pole arms will be holding off the Crypt Ghouls, so they will be able to continue to fire in. Looks like they are targeting down that Balefire, and now they will be able to probably turn either to the other corpse cart or trying to shoot into Vlad or some of the Graveguard units of the Vampire Counts. Noctis is still kind of just running around, trying to kind of avoid some melee combat, though he is a very tanky lord. He should be able to kind of wade in, at least do a little bit of melee engagement, though I suppose he has been trying to avoid that Balefire corpse cart, but that is now down, so that shouldn't be a problem to his magic regen now. The two Banshees are now in the middle of these handguns, as the handguns now kind of mix in and surround, as well as Vlad. The trio is trying to just kind of moving together. The bodyguards of Vlad continuing to do good work. Gallows Giant firing into the Sternsmen, and now the Sternsmen are very, very low indeed, though they have regen. They are down to 31 units, so if they are able to kind of keep out of damage, that regen will actually continue on, but they are crumbling, so that regen will not be helping them out for too much longer. Now Noctis is moving in, engaging these Banshees at the heels of the Gallows Giant, now that Vlad is kind of separated from them, though the Banshees, being ethereal, will be able to do fairly well in combat with Count Noctis. A summons coming down, hopefully trying to kind of mix in with the Banshees, keep the Banshees' attention to the zombies instead of Noctis himself, while Noctis is able to engage the Banshees more directly. Now some more shots from the handguns, firing into the Unholy Lodestone, doing some fairly good damage. Then they should be able to continue firing for a little bit here, as the Counts really don't have a whole lot in close range. Their stopping power is really just the two Banshees and Vlad himself, though that is going to be quite a bit indeed, as long as all those three are able to stay in the mix of the infantry of the Vampire Coast. They'll be able to avoid any of this incoming fire, and a summon of zombies being able to shut down the handguns as well, though the Gallows Giant trying to eliminate them as fast as possible. Now the Banshees are continuing to nip at the heels of the Gallows Giant, They are a little too small for the Gallows Giant to really be doing effective damage. And Vlad is continuing to keep these handguns busy. I suppose one of these Banshees, though, is getting very low. It has reached its healing cap, so it will not be able to get anything back. It is probably going to be... It is getting its leadership back, so it's going to avoid crumbling for now. It looks like the Coast is initially taking the advantage. But one of the units of handguns is continuing to be pushed back. At least they are avoiding having both of them tied up with the same unit, though one of the units of zombies are now kind of trying to shut it down, at least temporarily. There's looks like their summon is going to be withering away very quickly now, as the last tier is going to be ticking. And now Noctilus trying to protect that Gallows Giant, keep it firing as he engages that Banshee, but now the Goon Squad of the Vampire Counts is engaging, though the Gallows Giant dropping its zombies down, trying to keep it just online and firing, and an Invocation as well going down on it, getting that health. It still has quite a bit of healing left. This Banshee, oh no, those are these, not the Banshee, those are the zombies of the Vampire Coast. Kind of separating Vlad a bit, but Vlad will be pushing out of them, trying to get onto Noctilus. Though that Goon Squad of the Vampire Counts is very scary stuff indeed, as now especially now that the Sirens are all completely gone, and they have been for quite some time, they are going to be able to engage fairly freely without too much worry of any sources of magic damage. While the Necrofact does do fire damage, it is not really best fit for attacking small single entities. It is very good for clearing out chaff, which again, that was not something that it was able to do very well, and now it looks like it is crumbling. I don't think there's going to be really any saving it, as Noctilus just cannot do the damage output that he needs to deal with the Banshees. He would probably be best suited to attacking Vlad himself and kind of saving these Banshees for last, because it's just going to take so long for Noctilus to deal the damage to get these Banshees off the field, though he's done a fair amount of damage there. So this one Banshee is going to be going up, but the other one is at full health. It is at its healing cap, but Noctilus is just not going to be able to do enough damage quickly, as now the Gallows Giant is going to be dropping any second now, as the balance of power is now actually in the Coast's favor, or in the Count's favor. I'm sorry about that. These single entities, just the Counts are unable to really have a good answer to them in this late game. Noctilus, it would be, if he had another summons right now, it would be really good to kind of muck up both of these single entities, though Vlad should have some as well, and the Gallows Giant drops. Some more shots coming in from this last unit of handguns, but he is unable to persist. Now these last units of handguns are going to be going offline fairly quickly here. They're already crumbling. Now it's just going to be Noctilus against Vlad and the Banshee. My money is going to be on the Banshee if the Banshee is able to quickly deal with those final handguns and have Vlad and the Banshee on Noctilus. But I think if Noctilus was just the only one engaging Vlad, who is now also at his healing cap, I think he would be able to win against Vlad himself. But with the Banshee shaking him in the backside, my money is going to be on the Counts. This duel of duels. Looks like a summon coming down from the Vampire Counts, and the Coast actually withdraws. So, I did not anticipate those kills on the Gallows Giant. Oh my, it was engaged in melee. I thought that it was kind of missing out on its full potential, but now looking at 500 kills on the Gallows Giant. Now I know some of those are going to be done on a lot of the summons, from Vlad, but still, that is some very, very impressive numbers. I don't think I've seen a multiplayer battle with a single unit getting that many kills. Wow. Now looking back on the count side, Vlad doing some very good work as well, sitting at 169 kills himself. But again, the Banshees were kind of the MVPs once the Sirens were off the field. Their magic damage of the Vampire Coast was kind of mitigated, so they were kind of had free reign. Not a whole lot that could do enough damage. Some early game nice play with the Fellbats shutting down all the guns, though again I think the Vampire Coast maybe brought a little too many of the handguns. I think they were probably expecting some more fast movers, maybe some cavalry units, in which they would have done a lot better in, but again, it's kind of a little bit of wasted potential there. But otherwise, a very good game indeed. And this was in my latest tournament, the Rise of the Mortarchs, one of the earlier matches in that series. Very well played by both sides. Now, thank you all for watching, and have a good one indeed.